here of metabolic process involved in the involving cytochrome P450. Cytochrome P450 is a protein, and so by virtue of the fact that they also can be modified, well, if we have in a baby or an elderly such modification, the elderly may not live long enough, or the kid may not live long enough. Even in the regular adult, you can have this type of modification that may arise. So if your liver does not function well, you can end up with a liver problem. And the same thing can happen with the kidneys, and we have a whole range of kidney failure problem in Africa. Well, the sources are at the molecular level, and they come from the environment. It is proven in the literature. Right. So, for instance, someone also can present a high titer of HIV antibody, but we know that there are some people who have the virus inside their body, but the virus is not replicating. It is just latent, dormant, because the switch that is responsible for the transcription of the gene of that virus is switched off. Now, that switch is a protein. And it's not only at the proteinic level. I mean, the effect of a pollutant can take place at many other levels. I'm just emphasizing protein because it is a mechanism that we know very well. The characterization process is well known, and the interaction, protein-protein interaction, ligand-protein interaction is a well-covered subject. But there are many other processes that may arise as a result of the high intoxication of someone by an environmental pollutant. So if your immune system doesn't work well anymore, well, if you have an infection, a bacterial or viral infection, you become more susceptible to the disease caused by that microorganism. If you have a high titer of antibody, for instance, of HIV in your body, and something comes and switch the gene process of that virus inside your cells, well, the virus can be activated, and you will end up with a full-blown HIV, AIDS. So these are not things that we're making up. You just have to face your responsibility and be adult about it. We know that environmental pollutant can lead to neurotoxicity. We know that the neurotransmitters go from one synapse to another. Now, if the synapses are not functioning well as a result of a bad protein synthesis process, someone may lose his memory, may lose his motor abilities, may lose his ability to think correctly, and so many problems may arise: delinquency, violent behavior, a negative behavioral modification may take place. So this is not only a medical issue, it is a social issue that has a lot of downfall at the economic level. So it is not to be taken lightly. We know also that it is the hem moiety that actually traps the oxygen that we breathe, and it is because of this binding that the blood turned from blue to red. So if you lack the oxygen, you can be sure that your blood is not pure, so to speak. It is not oxygenated. And now we also know that CO2 has a higher binding affinity to the hem moiety. So if you have an environment where there is a high concentration of CO2 or other substances that compete with oxygen in the blood cell, you would have less attachment of the O2, or the oxygen molecule, to the receptor, which is the M moiety here. So in this case here, the person's blood is poisoned, and that can lead to so many problems, you know, heart failure, brain damage, liver malfunction, and it can lead to so many problems. So the modification that takes place at the genetic level can even impair your vision, can even impair your hearing, your bone formation, tooth formation, you name it. We have a case of cancer. You know, this is you know the conclusion of all. You know, a cell is made of organelles. Now, these organelles have to be synthesized. So, if a mutation can take place as a result of one's exposure to environmental pollution, it means that the organelles and all the proteins that are involved in the structure and the integrity of the cell can be altered. And if they are altered, well, you can end up in a case of cancer, for instance, of metastasis, for instance. The integrin, fibronectin, and so forth may not be playing their role fully, and therefore causing the cell to lose its normal structure, and by process of meiosis or mitosis lead to the formation of tumor, because the process is no longer following the normal physiological pathway, and there is an abnormal communication between the cells, and that can lead to all types of cancer. So our claim here is not just up in the air. We're not talking on the surface. It is based on deep scientific proof. That's why we are asking the world to support our global wellness campaign, because we would like to build the African disease tracking network and to track down those who have been infected, infested, those who have been polluted, in order to provide them with a better health plan, health care service. And that's what explains the 5 billion a year, the 15-year 5 billion green stimulus package, because we're not just going to buy a computer, a DNA sequencer, a mass spectrometer, or a simple microscope. We need to have modern hospitals, modern medical infrastructures, and modern equipment to monitor the environment, to monitor the pollution processes, and to address the issue even at the agricultural level. There are work to be done, because the process that I just described to you does take place also in the environment. You know, the fauna also does take a hit as a result of environmental pollution. Our crops is also affected, the fish and so forth. So it is a comprehensive plan that needs to be put in place, not only to regulate the environment, to regulate environmental pollutant, the movement, but also to provide those who have been affected and those who will be affected with a better way of life. So I hope that you understood the scope of this message, and that you would join us in providing the African people with a decent way of life, a better compensation, because there are so many. We can't begin to put a number on what is needed to compensate these people for the pain and suffering that they have incurred. We are no longer at the era of fighting famine, and people showing on TV children with fly in their nose and not being able to feed themselves. We are no longer there. Africa can feed its people. That's not a problem. The problem here is to be able to move on to the next level with a sustained technology transfer program and a capacity building program that will address some of the problems that has been caused by environmental pollution over the past decades, and also to prevent the onset of many of the consequences of those neglected problems. So if you have any question, feel free to call us, to go to our website, zenasa.com, and you'll have some of our information there. And what we're looking for is not just to build dispensaries and so forth. We need to provide a comprehensive program that will address the issue, because this issue is serious. Armand Christian Sery-Ble, President of Zenasa Biomedical Global Wellness Campaign. We are trying to improve the lives of the people living in the developing world, and this work is for the glory of God. I hope you understand and will join in. Thank you.